a major part of my career because it is a service company where we build solutions for other people. In that company, I worked for brands like Ebony Life Place, Female Cinemas, iShop, and a bunch of other companies like that. I have one card, Huawei, Blue Chips, and Bringy Bay. So if you want to see, and the reason I put all of these companies under my picture is so that you can see my roots, how I started, right? And you can relate to where I'm coming from. Okay, so in this phase, I have served as engineering lead for quite a while, for over a year. I have been responsible for accruing talent. Last year, I recruited over 30 QAs for Sterling Bank in 2 weeks, right? In between it, I have recruited talent for Platinum. Or I formulate that team from engineers to QAs to product managers to engineering managers. So this is coming from experience. This is coming from what I've had to do and how I've had to select talent, even while evaluating myself, right? So for me, interviews and talent acquisition, it is a two-way partnership. Who am I talking to? How does this person fit into the bigger picture? And how can I support this person at the level they are at and at the level I want them to operate? All of this and more are what we're going to be talking about today. So, not to waste too much of our time, I'll jump right into it. So the next one is QA in product cycle. So for the benefit of people that are here that don't understand, that are not in tech or don't understand what QA role is. So QA role is in between the software development lifecycle. Quality assurance are the people, are the experts that work around ensuring that we are not just building the right product, but we are building the product right. They are responsible for validation. They are responsible for assuring that the product we are bringing out is safe, is secure, is usable, is friendly, and meet all the requirements that we need to get it to the market. So the diagram I have on the left is just to show you all the operations, where DevOps is, and product managers literally surround everything. So development team, we have the engineers. QA is in between. So they interface with engineering, they interface with DevOps, they interface with operations, right? And QAs are the intersection of product management and quality assurance. And their role is to align all of those requirements, right? To ensure that the product meets customer needs and regulation and prevent defect throughout the entire product lifecycle. And it is a proactive process. Now, because now QA is evolving, a lot of people are reactive. They wait until problem happens before they solve it. But for QA's job is to ensure that that problem doesn't happen. Their job is to ensure that the likelihood of that problem happening is at the barest minimum. So that is the word proactive. Proactive is preventing issues before it is done, not preventive. And they focus on preventing defects rather than just detecting them after it has occurred. Your job is to ensure that you have seen it, you have tested it, you have tested positive use case scenarios, negative ones, even the ones that is not on the roadmap, but you know users can bring up. Example is you have a name field, and everybody knows Miriam Yunus is Miriam Yunus, but you're trying to test if you put one in that name, does the field reject it? If you put ampersand, ash, asterisk, does the field expect it? Even though those things are characters that should be rejected, hyphen should not be rejected because we have names like Damife Olaleye Martins. Olaleye Martins is hyphenated. You understand? So these are instances where QA have to be there. Now, for me, quality software is a software that works and delivers value. If there's any reason your user is finding it hard to go from point A to point B, that product has failed. Now, my job, for me, quality software isn't just bug free. It is that it works as expected and solves a real problem. Quality equals value plus reliability plus experience. A use case for this for me is we have a product on the market. It is currently running. Then one day I get a comment from a customer telling me, oh, Miriam, I can't load assets. They could play the content, but the cover images of the content was not looking very palatable. There was this error icon on it. And I was like, okay, this is weird. Now, for us, it was not like the content couldn't play. It was the experience wasn't optimal. They were not getting value. That first experience is deterring customers from enjoying the product. Now, if we had a QA on the team at then, the job of the QA is to see that before it happens. And even that, there are still bugs that makes it to production anyway, don't get me wrong. So what we did was detect the problem, fix it, and put checks to ensure that doesn't happen. So that's what I mean by value, reliability, and experience. The product is working, but the experience is not optimal. So quality for software for me is it works and it delivers value. Now, moving on, how the product and QA intersect. Honestly, if I'm being honest, if I'm being truthful, everywhere. Every company I go, if they don't have a QA, the first thing I tell them is, you must have a QA on your team. I cannot test. And that is funny coming from someone that has a background in computer science and is a certified QA engineer. I will tell them, at this time, I am your product manager. I cannot test every use case scenario. When I have a QA is like my secret weapon to ensure that nothing slips through the crack. So for me, QA is everywhere. But most people only start involving QA when product has started, when they are ready to launch. We get that a lot in case tech. People will come and say, oh, your product is ready to come and do beta testing for me. Let me be sure it is okay. But when you involve QA at the beginning, a lot of preventive measures that will even save you development time would have been earnest early. And most of the time, when you involve QA late, it's already too late. Now, for product, we define what we build and why we build it, right? Sales determines where we sell it, okay? QA helps us ensure that we are building the product right. And one thing that is not here, we are also building the right product. Now, the sweet spot for me in all of this is that early collaboration. If you work with me as a QA, from requirement gathering, I will send it to you. The minute I have an high-level requirement, as a QA, you should start creating test strategy and test plan. I don't want to hear story. Because during your writing your test cases, your test plan, your test strategy, you will start seeing nuances that I did not even cater to in my high-level requirements that we start putting into the product specification, right? And during grooming, before we even start developing, for me in my career, before we start coding, we have a brainstorming session where we try to think through how is the best way to solve this problem. We'll first of all list out what are the possible ways for us to solve this problem and choose the best way for us to approach the problem within our time, our budget, our scope, and our niche. Once we have identified that, product and design goes in through the ideation phase. When we start designing, we start going through a bunch of things. And once design is ready, before my guys write one code, one line of code, they review that design again and give us feedback. And we go, and that design is also shared with QA. Okay, guys, what are we missing? If it's for the product that is new, the insight might not be as much. But if it's for an existing product that we're trying to add features to, at that point, QA is very valuable because they are the ones that are representing our users during that session. And then they act as in place of the user, representing them. Okay, guys, this is great, but it's going to break this feature that you guys did not think of. Then we go back into the drawing board. So early collaboration is very, very essential and very, very, very rewarding. So I have had my QA team catch things I didn't even think through, edge cases, nuances I was not even putting my mind to. And it saves us time, effort, customer experience, churn, a lot of time. And in the last line, QA and product must always co-own the goal, a stable and delightful product. I don't know. I think I work like this because I have had to be in different functional units within the software development lifecycle. But I have seen that this works and this saves everybody time and headache. Moving on. So importance of QA in product development. For me, like I said, they are my secret weapon. If you know Miriam, you know that QA is the people that should just tell you, If QA doesn't tell me it's fine, that thing is not final. I will not announce that it is done. Even when we're working in ULesson, we would have finished deployed to production maybe since Thursday. We will not announce to stakeholders. We will wait until QA has done their regression tests on production and certified at least a 99% stability before we announce to stakeholders. If there is any reason they give us anything less than that, we'll tell the stakeholders that we need more time. We'll go back again to fix the issue. And even with that, we still put checks in so that we don't fail. We don't do full phase rollouts on all of my products that I've worked with. We do phased rollouts. We own, and you probably have seen it in products like WhatsApp and Instagram, where you will see a feature on your friend's phone, but you don't have it. That is called phased rollout. Is allowing some parts of the customer base test it, see if there's an error before you roll it out to everybody, right? And then we have regression. We have a bunch of automated tests that does the work for us. So for us, for me, they are my secret weapon. But for the sake of this session, I'm going to call them gatekeepers. They are the backbone of our entire software development lifecycle. And they are more than, it's not just testing the code. They are gatekeepers. Now, if you are a QA right now on this call, there will be instances where when the product launch and there is an error that your CEO or your manager sees on production, and be like, and they will not tell you, what was your QA doing that did not catch this? If this has ever happened to you, please give me a thumbs up. Like you've tested, you've done all your work, but they just saw one slight bug on production and they come to you and say, why didn't you people catch this? If you have ever been in this situation, raise your hand or drop me a thumbs up. And that is when you know that your work is important. Now, why are you important? You help us move fast without breaking things that matter, right? Ensures functionality, performance, and user experience is optimal, reduces time to market at every point of time and our risk and post-launch issues, enable continuous delivery and with confidence, and also act as a feedback loop between product dev and user experience. Now, what I was talking about when we're launching and the QAs give us certification, we have like a release cycle, a release note. QA tells us, even though this is stable, there are still some tiny bugs that are going with this to production. They won't stop us from going because they are not critical, but we should definitely fix them. Now, there's this confidence because I know when I'm coming back, my job is to plan all of those things into the next iteration, right? The next work that needs to be done. Whenever I use product lingos, I'll try as much as possible to use English words. So please forgive me for the people that are not in tech in the team. So these are the ways you're important. QA is very important. And for me, quality is everyone's responsibility. Either you're a QA product manager, an edutech specialist, a bank manager, a support. Quality should be your watchword in the way you do your work, in the way you relate to people, in the way you relate to your team, right? So now let's get to the art of the matter for people that really, for the reason we are here, which is you versus interviews. Now, before I proceed, let us start with where you are in your career, right? In a QA assurance career, these are the trajectory we have. It has evolved more than this. The job role description is different from different organization and different industry, but this is like the baseline. Junior QA engineer, you're either a QA engineer or you're a QA tester. Some people call them QA analysts, right? And here you are just starting. You are literally 0 to 1 to 2 years on the job. You are still doing a lot of manual. You are finding your feet. You're trying to figure something out. A QA engineer, you are over 2 years in the job, but less than 4 years. In this case, you are beginning to have more confidence in yourself. You have tested more than 3 to 5 products. You have worked in at least one company, a structured company. You have written at least 1 test cases. You have written at least 1 bug report. You have experienced a product launch, right? At this point. Then you're a senior QA engineer or tester. At this in this space, you are confident. You have over 4 years experience, but less than 7. You have strong manual testing experience. You have some automation experience, at least 1 to 2 years minimum. You have people under you that are juniors that you're trying to mentor. You are creating test strategy. You are executing test strategy. You are defining internal processes. You are working with internal teams. A lead testing specialist, you are responsible for automation, you are responsible for API and performance, you are doing your CI/CD, you are leading teams, you have over 5 years of experience, you are monitoring senior and junior and mid-level QAs engineer, you are responsible for processes and standards in the organization. Then we have a new one that just happened, which is software developer engineer in test. Here, you are not really lead, but your job is to write testing with code. They are more technical than all the other peoples I have here. Sometimes we rate them as lead software testing specialists because they have passed all the 3 stages before it. The name or the role on the convention might be different for different industries, but what you're doing remains the same. So wherever you are in your career, this applies to you. Now, there are two different types of interviews. We have physical interview and virtual interviews. Now, we are in the Gen Z era where everything is happening virtual. But during our own era, you will wear suit, tie, office dress, wear your cocoa shoe, and go to VI or Lekki or anywhere in CBD if you are in Abuja to look for a job. And you go there, you knot your tie very well. There will be a reception that will calling you in, and you'll be waiting. And from the door, your interview has started. From the reception looking at you like you have body odor or you are sweating, and it is normal. Where virtual interviews is where the general we are now, where the meeting happens over Zoom, over Google Meet, over Teams, and all of that. And for the interview is the same, but the nuances in them are different, right? For physical interview, you are face to face. You are meeting that person in person, and full body language, how you do everything you're doing. In fact, literally from the door, you are being assessed. Why virtual interviews is conducted remotely, and we utilize tools like video conferencing tool like Teams, like I mentioned, and it is structured and ensures the goal is for you to communicate while you're there. There won't be a lot of body languages, but verbal cues are very, very interpreted. Okay. Now, as someone looking to stay in this role, you need to understand the difference between them. Now, for physical interview, dress smart. You don't have to wear suit. You don't always have to wear suit. Dress formal, wear a very, very clean, neatly ironed shirt, business casual, clean shoes, neat hair. Don't go and do afro or colored hair to a first time interview. Pack essentials, your CV, your pen, your pad. Arrive early. If your interview is for 9, be there at least, worst case, 10 minutes to the time. I tell people on my team that if you are on time, you are late, right? Be there early. Physical etiquette, firm handshake, don't slouch, smile, steady eye contact, be confident, sit up straight, don't slouch or fidget. Come with the best of yourself. For virtual, dress the part. I have seen in the course of interviewing in the last 3 years that people have taken virtual interview disrespectfully. I have seen someone that wore a gym wear. She was literally sweating to an interview. Where the people that want to interview you are dressing formal. You came to the interview with armless. I'm not joking, guys. And even though she had good things to say, even though she was able to defend her certificate, they did not take her because it's actually a disrespect for you to go somewhere that you are expected and you're dressing like, I don't give a damn, I know what I do. Respect in interviews is reciprocal. If you respect your interview, they will also respect you. That's my own opinion. Wear through the business casual, like wear your normal. If it is a t-shirt, we are in tech world, a clean t-shirt, ensure your room hair is properly combed and all of that, and be cordial, even to the bottom half. Even though you don't have to, since you are coming for virtual, you don't have to wear full suit down. But from up to here, give them the best of yourself. Ensure you test your internet before that time. If I have an interview for 9, I will do my test at 8, 8:30, and 10 minutes to 8:30 to that time, because it's very important. I check my mic, I check my internet is okay. I check that everywhere I am, there's no noise. There's no background noise. My room is well lit, right? And then I ensure my room is tidy. There won't be any distraction. Like right now on this call, my door is locked to my office because I know my kids can come in anytime. So I'm giving that respect for this webinar. That's the same respect you should also give to your interviewers, right? Look at the webcam, not the screen. Look at the camera. Right now, I'm looking at the camera. I'm not looking at my screen that is up here because you show that you are looking at them. If there for any reason you have to look at another screen that is not them, you need to tell them why you're doing that, right? Stay focused, close all other tabs, and silence your phone to avoid distractions, right? So those are the things that I would tell you to do if you're going for an interview. Now, what do you need to do? Now, a lot of people go for interviews and they just jump on the interview. For example, you want to interview for a role at Kunda Kids as a QA engineer, and you come to the interview, and I'm asking you, please tell me what you know about Kunda Kids, right? And you're like, "Yeah, I don't really know much. I just know that people say, people, you are shy on YouTube." And I'm like, bruh. So like it is funny. And I'm like, okay, what is happening here? You before you go for an interview, the best way for you to put your feet forward is to understand what that company does and what product they have. Research the company. It will not even take you 1 hour, and their product. If you are a QA, find a way to do an exploratory test of their product and come to that meeting with receipts. Oh, guys, I tested your product yesterday. This was the date I tested. These are the bugs I noticed. Not at the beginning, though, but I've got those things listed. All right. And be ready to speak about how you test it. It's very, very important. Just have those notes beside you. Now, with virtual, we are even fortunate. With virtual, you can keep talking points, how you want to address every question that you have. With physical, you will not be able to do that, right? So you need to know all of these things by heart, and you learn things by doing them. Understand the role. I have people that I have interviewed that have not read the JD. I kid you not. They just applied and did not read the JD once, and they come to the interview, and I'm like, oh my lord. Because if you come for an interview with me, I will ask you questions based on what is in the JD and what is in your CV. Brush up on fundamentals. No, people always think that not knowing fundamentals is if I know the job is fine. You need to know the definitions. You need to know fundamentals. For example, define performance testing. At what point do you do performance testing? Unit testing and integration testing. What is the difference? At what point do you work with CI? What are your test cases? What should be in your test strategy document? What is the difference between test strategy and test plan? I can start listing all the questions. Know the fundamentals. Test plan, SDLC, SSDLC. At what point does quality becomes a concern? You need to know them. Bug life cycle. You need to brush up before your interview. Read your CV again. Yes, I said it. A lot of people don't say this a lot. Yes, it is your CV. Yes, you wrote it. But when was the last time you refreshed that CV? I know a lot of us here that use the same CV for every application. I used to be on that table. So please let me shake it. And you would have packed plenty English, especially now that you people are using ChatGPT to create your CV. Read the CV that ChatGPT has created for you, please. Okay? Read it very well. Understand what is there. All right? And all of those terms that ChatGPT is putting there is based on what you have defined for yourself. If you still want to keep it in your CV, read what those things mean and on how you apply them. A lot of questions during interviews come from your CV. So please, before your interview, go through it again. Go through the CV that you submitted for that application for those that use different CVs. Now, the last one, prepare to come with the best version of you. The saying that first impression matters, it is the truth. If you come to the meeting acting arrogant, I will assume you are arrogant. If you come to the interview looking shabby, I will assume your work is shabby. Ensure you are in a quiet room. Ensure your internet is okay. Ensure that you are in the interview with the mental readiness to come to this meeting with your video on. I don't have to turn on my video for this session, but I want you guys to see the best version of me. And this is not even the best because normally when I put makeup, I'm finer. But you get what I'm saying. For physical, dress smart. For virtual, ensure you're in a quietly room. There is light. There is everything. Internet connection is okay. You have everything you need to succeed. If you're the type that takes notes, put your notes beside you. If it is hard copy, it's on your screen, put it there. Talking points. All right. That is what you need to know before you go for your interview. Now, you have in the interview, what are the things that I look out for as someone that has hired hired people for the last few years, over 10 years of doing this? In your interview, the first thing, every interview question, the first thing they will tell you is introduce yourself. Now, this is where people fail. I see people start telling me, I have BSc from computer science. I am I'm the first in my family. I am this, I am that. Please, let's not do that again. Let's show that. Let's take that now and drop it in the trash can. What they want to know is introduce yourself as it relates to the role. All right. Now, the way I would go through that is, hi guys, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me. My name is Miriam Yunus. I am a product manager and I've been doing this for the last 10 years. I'm currently the head of product at Kinder Kids, and today I'm applying for the role of blah, blah, blah at blah, blah, blah. For the case of this session, let's talk about senior product manager at Google, you know now, or head of product at Google. I'm here today to interview for the head of product at Google. In the last 10 years, I have been at the sphere of building, shipping product and building product from early on to the future. And my job does not end there. I'm also responsible for customer experience, usability, blah, 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 blah. And before this role, I have worked on 2 different companies, blah, 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 list them. And then that's it. Keep it short and simple. If you cannot introduce yourself in less than 5 minutes, you are doing it wrong. Now, during questions, if it is a technical interview, they will ask you technical questions. If it is cultural fit interviews, they will ask you scenario-based questions, right? Oh, this happened in this company. Well, for A and B, how would you handle it? Now, answer the question, then use real-life example to back it up. Now, let me tell you my interview with For You lesson. Then I was even just a junior PM. I was applying for the role of senior PM. I had never worked in edtech before, education. That was my first edtech product. And I was like, okay, how would you build solution for children? And for someone that doesn't have the experience, I was supposed to fail that naturally. But I was, oh, hi, oh, yes. Although I have not built edtech before, the way I will build about this is one of the things I have done in my research is to ensure that when you're building things for children and solutions for children, it is fun, it is engaging, it is not distracting, and you also affirm learning. Now, based on that research, I also employed this in a project I worked on for Film Up Cinemas, where we not only built something that the company wanted, but for users want. What I did was I did a user research where I tried to understand what the users of that particular solution, of that cinema wants, and how they want the interface of Film and Cinemas booking platform to look like. And I took that in and leveraged on that and build a robust experience. If I'm going to be working in U lesson, what I would do is enhance that, understand my customers, which are the learners, and build solutions that work for them. So even though I have never done edtech before, I was able to use examples that relate to that. Now, show collaboration skills. Talk about, find a way in your question as a QA. They will ask you, oh, for example, how would you prepare us for lunch? Or for me, I need to first of all understand from the product managers what exactly is going out with this release and what the requirements are like. Then my job is to test what has been done in line with this requirement, along with edge cases that are also not there. I'll work with designers to ensure that whatever they have designed is well aligned with what has been implemented. And blah, 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 and engineers to ensure that the code works, and there are also rollback mechanism that has been implemented. DevOps, blah, 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 blah. And you show them that. Be honest, be you, don't lie. Every time you lie, you seek a hole for yourself, because the minute you mention a technical jargon that you have never used before, it will create questions. If you tell me, I was responsible for test strategy, and I was like, oh, that's good, that's very interesting. Can you tell me what happens in your strategy? And bro, you have never done test strategy before. Can you see you just sunk a hole for yourself? Be honest. If you also don't know it, tell them you don't know, and if they can expatiate. If you did not hear the question, ask, I'm sorry, can you please rephrase that question? I'm not sure I got it correctly. Be honest, talk about how you go about learning it if you don't know it as well. Bug reporting matters. If you are interviewing for a QA role, be ready to fix or find a bug in your question. Okay. All right. So talk about tools, but keep it real. Ask questions. Say you got focus. Be honest. Be you. Talk tools. Keep it real. Ask questions. Say you got focus. Be honest. Be you. What I look for in my interview, clarity in your thought process and communication. Because I have not seen your bug reports before. Are you are you explaining yourself clearly? How logical are you solving problem? And how are you able to prioritize and handle ambiguity? I might give you an ambiguous question. How are you able to ask me question around that? Here are examples of scenario-based questions that I put here. Oh, sorry, NEPA has happened to me. Sorry about that, guys. I'll be back shortly. And then these are some of the things I also use in rating. For me, as a product manager and someone that has been acquiring talent for over 10 years, soft skills for me is 30% of your interview. Domain knowledge is 40%. Domain knowledge are your manual testing skills, all the other skills you need to have as a QA. Soft skills are communication, both written and verbal, thinking, obsession to attention, on how you take ownership in your response, your curiosity. Technical skills, all of those big words like CI/CD, API, that's when it now comes. So for me, if you can do your soft skills well and get your domain knowledge well, 70% you've already passed the job for me. Okay, so this is it for me. Physical interview. And then one of the things we do is that once we are done with interview, just finish that is do things after your interview. Tell them thank you. Follow up with an email. Tell them thank you on the call. Follow up with an email. Reflect yourself. Look at what did you do wrong? What did you do better? And you can improve on the next interview. Stay professional until exit and prepare for next step for yourself. It might be follow up. It might be same rules apply and all of that. So post-interview things I do, I send a thank you note. I send thank you note. I circle back if I don't hear back from them. I follow up where it is. And I keep it confidential. I have seen people right now, because of this Gen Z trend, you now see details of the interview on Twitter or on Instagram. Why? Let's keep it classy. Let's keep it demure. So now you've gotten the job. What next? Now, culture fit matters. So as the company is trying to ascertain if you are a fit for their role, you also should also be ascertaining if that company is a fit for you. Now, QA role requires collaboration, feedback, and adaptability, and misalignment leads to miscommunication and frustration on the job. So for that first 30 days, your job is to understand if this is for you. We've seen a lot of things coming in our web where we have mental stress. There's this word you guys use. When I remember the word, I'll say. So try and find a way to collaborate. And these are the ways I do it. 90 days, strategy for your first 90 days. Probationary days is very, very important, and companies take it very, very seriously. So what I do is I spread them over 3 period. The first 30 days, the first 60 days, and the first 90 days. The first 30 days, you're trying to learn and integrate with the team. The 60 days, you're trying to contribute, and 90 days, you're trying to optimize and take ownership. What are the tools they are using? What are the features? The ones you didn't know before you joined. What are the environment they have? What are their test strategies? How do they collaborate? What are the teams they work with outside of your team? In the 60 days, you have deep understanding. You're not contributing. You're writing your test execution. You're not breaking anything. Then 60 is now affirming your own work. You are showing them that I am the right man for the job. Different companies have different probationary days. There's 30 days, there's 60 days. Then there's 3 months, there's 6 months. It depends on wherever. But the first 90 days is very, very important. For me, what I do is when I come to the job, the first week, I'll tell you what you should expect from me in the first 30 days. And I send that to my line manager so I can keep myself and them accountable, and also give clarity to what I will be doing. And also they can also chip in if they want me to do something else. So the first 30 days is what you do. Product knowledge, you understand what they are doing. And here I put it as free trial. You remember that whenever you do a tool and they're telling you it is free trial, they are not joking. At that time, you are free trial. So you're trying to ensure that they are getting the best value from you, even though you don't know anything on the job. Study plan, ask question, be engaged. The next 30 days is you're now getting your feet a little bit. You're asking questions. You see the colors changes. Here you're orange, here you're now yellow, and here you are now red. Red is important because at this point, you've had 2 months to learn on the job. And here is when you now prove that you are the right person for it. So the slide will be shared. I'm out of time, so I'm rushing. But here you're trying to understand product knowledge, you're trying to affirm and all of that. Then this is a summary. First 30 days, you are learning, you are integrating. 60 days, you are contributing, you are collaborating. 90 days, you are optimizing and you're taking ownership. Now, 10 things you should do. Understand the product deeply. Study the existing QA processes. Build strong professional relationship. Clarify expectations with your manager. It's very important. Document what you learn and the new things you bring to the team, contribute, familiarize yourself with your CI/CD pipeline, assess analytics and customer feedback, identify low-hanging wins, be visible and be curious. Nobody, you are the one in charge of your career. If nobody knows you, you don't grow. Please. Now, it's time for Q&A, but before we go to Q&A, one of the things I also want to say is whenever you start a new job, be prepared to unlearn what you have learned before joining that job. Because if you don't unlearn, you will not learn new things. So thank you so much for having me, guys. And I'm here to answer any question that you may have. Thank you all. Jennifer, over to you.
Thank you, Miriam, for that wonderful session. As expected, yeah, we have a very quick quiz that we want to do. Yeah, Toby, please can you put it up for us? Just 5 questions. And I know we all have questions. We have questions. We are going to ask our questions. Please make use of the Q&A section to ask your questions, and then Miriam can pick it up from there. All right, we have the quiz on our screen. It's just 5 questions and shouldn't take us more than 3 minutes, 2 minutes. Yeah. All right, for the sake of time, please drop your questions in the Q&A if you have questions, so that Miriam can pick it up while you still answer the quiz on your screen.
For those that want to unmute, you can just signify.
Jennifer, someone said the quiz is not showing yet.
Oh, how's that? I can see it on my
I,
end.
I
Okay.
can see it though, but
I
I
can see
don't
it on my
know.
end as well. I was expecting to see all our questions popping in. What's going on, guys?
If you can't type the question, the Q&A is a button. You see the button called Q&A. If you can't type there, you can drop your question in the chat.
All right, we have one question. Miriam, we have one question.
Yes, from Anonymous. You have mentioned reading processes and documents that have been in place. What if you join a company as its first QA? How do you navigate setting this process for yourself to help the team better? PS, Progress team don't get to create a PRD itself, so test plans have been developed from designs all the while. Good question. And this is currently something one of my QA contractor is currently going through. Is at a place whereby everything is just not structured. Now, what I'll give him the same advice I gave you, which is we know the fundamentals. For you need to create. If there's no process, go ahead and create it. Don't wait to be told. So if you notice that there's no test case, look at the design. If it's the only design you have, create a test case with it. If it's you have a design and you have the PRD, create a test case for it. Now, as you create the test case, you start asking yourself questions and all of that. Start from test cases and create. If they are also, if once you are done with your test case as a minimum, share with the product manager or your own direct QA lead or whoever you are reporting to. Hi, these are the test cases I've done. This helps us tell them the value of using that and share them. Okay. And then that allows you ensure that they are seeing you and you are visible. If they are no understand the fundamentals that your company needs to have based on your niche or the sector you're working with and create those things. Track. and give them reports on the effectiveness of that new tool. So I hope that answers that. Um, so here I have anonymous attendee again. I'm surprised we're having a lot of anonymous today. Can I apply for a job just as a manual tester? Yes. There are roles right now for manual testers. Any role you see right now that has 0 to 3 years of experience, go ahead and apply for it. They are looking for manual. They don't expect you to have automation skills without knowing manual anyway. And please ensure you read the JD, that they did not specify that API or automation test is required. But if you see any job between 0 to 2 years, you are a right fit for it. So apply. And there are jobs that even explicitly state that they are looking for manual testers. So please go ahead and apply for it. The next question here is Dr. Martina. What further trainings can you recommend for a junior QA even when on the job? How does one translate into QA role? Good question. So for further trainings, their Case Academy currently runs a QA training. Their next cohort is going to be coming in June or July. Jennifer will explain more on that. There are a lot of organizations that do that. Leverage on YouTube tutorials, Udemy, Coursera. And for a junior tester, I would say that for the first 1 year of your role, focus on being really, 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 really good at building your soft skills and your technical skills. Know how to test properly, test the things that are testable and even not testable. Try as much as possible to break the software. That's how you learn. Now, how do you translate into a QA role? Anyone can become a QA manager as long as you have all of these things I mentioned as soft skills. Let me go back to it. I'm sorry. I'm looking for it. Soft skills. If you have good, strong communication skills, strong analytical skills, attention to detail, you know how to take initiative and ownership and proactive problem solving. You have keen curiosity. You like testing apps. Like you have all of 30% to start. So anybody can transition into QA. So I hope I've been able to answer your question, Dr. Martina. Then the next person here is please, can you give us a website where you can see job vacancy on software testing? I don't know how to answer that, but I know that on Indeed, there are a lot of jobs on Indeed. I know that Case Tech also has a lot of vacancies. There's LinkedIn as well. Just search for your role. Filter. There are a lot of filters on all of these platforms where you can filter roles based on your experience, location, and all of that, and you get them. So the question was, please give us a website where we can see job vacancies on software testing. So there are a lot of places like that. Modupe asks, thank you for the wonderful session. Please, why is it always difficult to get an internship role? Like, what are the expectation one is expected to have? Yeah. So right now, there are not a lot of jobs out there, Modupe, let me not lie to you. There's inflation, high cost of building is high. So not a lot of company has the patience all the time to hire an intern. But what we've started doing is that a lot of companies are beginning to adopt graduate internships. Companies like Case Academy are also offering internships for anybody that trains with them under one of their groups, right? Companies like ULesson, Flutterwave, Rainers are also doing that. So for you to break into that role, be willing to do free internships, free paid or unpaid internships. Your goal is to gain at least 6 to 1 year experience to have under your belt. Once you have at least 6 months experience, start looking for jobs that allow you to do that. Now, while you're getting those experience, try to get certifications under your belt. Go to academies, get certification under Coursera. That gives you edge over other entry levels than you. So that is what I would expect you to do. I hope that helps, Modupe. Adeshola asks question. Thank you for the wonderful session. Can you describe the most challenging stakeholder you have ever worked with? How do you manage the relationship? The most challenging person I have ever worked with is sales. They're always frustrating my life. Sales will have built a product that I have not even sold, a product I have not even built. But how did I manage them? I started getting to join their meetings, joining their customer outreach, understanding our budgets line and their targets, and see how I can be support for them and not hindrance. And then I also give them visibility into our product roadmap, why we are building what we are building and when we are building it at the beginning of the year. And I ensure that we review both of our own targets and KPIs and OKRs every quarter. That's the way I've been able to manage them. So that's all the questions we have for the Q&A. Jennifer, I don't know if there's any question in the chat box.
Yes, we have one question in the chat box. It says, "Is it a must for a QA tester to write code?"
Not a must. However, if you want to move ahead, you should. It is not a must. I have a QA right now, an amazing QA engineer that has been doing this for over 4 years. He doesn't do API, he doesn't do automation, he doesn't even want to, and he's doing well for himself. But if I compare him to the people that he started with, he is below them because knowing the code takes you over an edge. A lot of companies will even hire you as an automation engineer, but most of the time you still do manual. But when you have automation skills, it gives you an edge over your counterparts. So it is not a must, but it is a good one to have. Someone here said that they want to see the 30 days and 60 days slide. So I'll go back to that while we are getting prepped to end the meeting. So this is like the summary of it all. You can take a snapshot for anyone on the call. Jennifer, I think I am done.
All
Any other
right.
thing?
Thank you so much, Miriam, for this wonderful session. Thank you to everyone that joined. Thank you for your questions and your active participation. And as usual, you know what I'm going to say next. Please let's take it to LinkedIn. Share one or two things you were able to pick out of today's session, what you've been able to learn. Share with us on LinkedIn. I would always be glad to engage with your posts. And thank you everyone once again. And if you have more questions, Miriam is on the WhatsApp group. She'll answer your questions if you do. So drop your questions if you have more questions on the WhatsApp group. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Bye. Have a great night.